mission. It's something that I signed up for, so I blame no one but myself for what has happened in my life. When people hear my story, they're like, can't believe that you did that, can't believe you lived through that, can't believe that you're still here. But I too, like Melanie, have had the love of Jesus Christ wash over me. There is nothing like that on this earth. It is life-changing and eternity-altering. I love my Savior with my whole heart. I have had some wonderful experiences. I have been ministered to by the angel Moroni. I have seen him. I have had lots of angelic ministry with people who wake me up 4 o'clock in the morning and tell me things to do. I no longer need to sleep very much because I'm woken up constantly by angels and giving me instructions on things that I can do to help further the Father's work. I don't know if you want me to tell the story or you don't want me to tell the story, but I feel like you do want to.
Your story's pretty meaty.
Yeah. Are you awake now? It's been a long journey. There was a point in my life, there's a changing point in your life, right? You're a member of the church your whole life. I always loved the Lord. There's a turning point in my life that turned me to the temple. And this is what I teach everybody. And my change of heart was to the temple. So I had been married to someone who was very awful, who raped my children. And I had divorced him and gotten away from him. And he had joined the church. He spoke in state conference. Everyone thought he was wonderful. He was very good showman of all those things. And after we were divorced, he told everybody that I was this lying, crazy Mormon and got up in court and said all these horrible things about me and turned it around to where the judges believed him instead of me. And he was constantly trying to get custody of my 3-year-old daughter and just to rub it in my face. And I went through a lot of years of this kind of hard stuff. And I was going to murder him. I was going to kill him, like the scriptures say, like Nephi killed him, just to stop the pain and to stop him coming after me and to stop him coming after my children. And I just thought I couldn't take it anymore. And I would go through the scriptures and find all the things like, if he comes against you once, if he comes against you twice, if he comes against you 3 times, then you can kill him. It says it in the scriptures in the Book of Mormon. I was like, there it is. There's my answer. I don't want to do anything that's wrong. I did not have a murderous heart. I just wanted to stop the bleeding and stop the pain. And so someone wise was speaking to me and said, you need to go to the temple. So I went and met my bishop, and I was like, I'm either going to turn my life to the temple or I'm going to commit murder. So do you want to give me a temple recommend? And I was perfectly honest because at that point I had nothing to lose. You get to the bottom rung and I had nothing to lose. And he gave me my temple recommend. And I started going to the temple every week by myself, not with my current husband, just by myself to the temple, to the Mesa temple, which I love. We moved here from Texas to get away from my ex-husband that was doing all this, but he moved here like 5 miles away from us just to continue to torture me. That was his whole entire job. And Satan had been torturing me since I was a little kid. So I've had that my whole life. I turned to the temple. I started going every single week. And I had little kids and we were in therapy all the time and the kids were in therapy and doing all this stuff. So I had five kids that I was dealing with. And the Lord just taught me. He just taught me week by week. He was just teaching me, and he was just so patient and so kind. And I would just be in there just sobbing. I would just be in there in the celestial room sobbing. And people would come up to me all the time and they're like, sister, are you okay? And I'd be like, no, I'm not okay. And I'd just keep crying because I didn't want to tell anybody what was going on. I was just having my own pain. And I felt like So the court told me that if I didn't take my daughter to him and drop her off with him as a 5-year-old every weekend or every other weekend or whatever the schedule was, that they would put me in jail. So I had to go take her to this monster, my little sweet little baby girl, and drop her off. And then I would go to the temple and I would cry, and I felt like someone was just stabbing me in the stomach with a knife all the time. I felt physical pain. I felt so much physical pain and emotional pain and mental pain. And in the meantime, I was dealing with a husband and 2 stepkids and my 2 kids, and then waking up screaming in the middle of the night and night sweats and terrors and all the things that go along with everything that happens with that. And so I just turned it all over to the Lord. I'm like, I can't do it. You have to do everything for me. Can't do it. And he did. He does it all. So for years and years, I went to the temple every week. If the temple's going to be closed for 2 weeks for cleaning, I'd go twice the week before and twice the week after. Those were the baby steps that he was leading me to. Once a week at the temple wasn't enough. It wasn't enough at all. And then I started going to the temple every day, every single day. I started doing my current husband's family's work because he's a convert to the church, and started having miraculous experiences with his relatives. Miraculous experience. Once I do it, and I bear this testimony in Sacramento all the time, I'm like, I hate computers. I'm just of the generation, I'm 45, I do not like computers. They're not my friend. I have teenagers and 20-year-olds and they do it. And I sat down one day and told the Lord, I'm going to do family history and I don't know how to do it. So I need angels to come and type in this stuff for me, because I don't know how to do it and I don't like the computers. And I went up, I turned it on, I was super frustrated, I couldn't even log in, I was having all kinds of problems. I went upstairs to take a bath, I came back down, 9 names were in my inbox, ready to print, ready to take to the temple. Took them to the temple, did that work. All those people came and visited me at the temple. I felt every one of their spirits. 9 people with the last name White. They were my husband's family from Louisiana. They typed their names in. It was a miracle. They did their own work, and now every day I say, I'm signed in for 2 weeks. Come do the work, because I still can't figure it out. I've done about 1,000 names. I still can't figure it out. They still type their names in all the time. Like, you want your work done and you know I'm going to the temple tomorrow? Come do it. And then I'll have a huge stack in my purse, and I'll be walking down the hallway and saying, who wants to go today? And a name will come to me, Nancy Bowers. And I look, do I have a Nancy Bowers? Ooh, there you go. Wow. Nancy Bowers is ready to get her work done. And so through those blessings, through that treachery of going to the temple, and then after I've had this washing over of the Lord, who gave me all of his complete love, all of his peace, which is not of this world. I've spent so much time in dark courtrooms where the evil powers overpower those rooms. And I spent so much time in there that he washed all of that away from me. And then he sent me on a mission. So he told my husband and I to move to Kauai. So we're like, you really want us to move to Hawaii? Like, I'm going to need a confirmation of this, Heavenly Father. Like, you're going to have to tell me this again. So I had 6 confirmations in the temple that we should move to Kauai. And the very last one was a lady who it was before I started doing my own names. And I went into the dressing room and she said, oh, would you do a name for me? And I said, oh, sure, I love to do names. You know, I did. I grabbed her name, looked at the name, put it in my pocket. And I told my Father, I was like, I know you've given me like 5 confirmations, but I really need to know, this is a big deal. I have to leave my baby and her baby's like, I'll go do whatever you want me to do, but I really need to know this is what you want us to do. And so I'm in the Mesa Temple, and as soon as I'm going through the veil, look at this card, I open it up, look at her name, and it's stamped Hawaii, Hawaii, Hawaii. And it was, the date was the day before. And I know this lady because I know Hawaii. I lived there for 3 years. So you'd have the overnight flight. So she was yesterday in the Laie Temple, and then she's flown overnight, and now she's in the Mesa Temple, handing me this card. Would you do a name for me? Hawaii, Hawaii, Hawaii. The Lord is in all the details of our lives. And so I go into the dressing room, and I was in the dressing room just getting dressed because I got to go pick up kids. And he shows me my whole life is full circle to come to the point. I had to marry this husband, to adopt this child, to get to this point, to be in Kauai at this time, because these people there needed me. So we were in Kauai for 3 years. I thought we were going there forever. I loved it there. We were in this tiny little branch. I served as a primary president. I loved those children. We had so much fun doing that. And then I was at the Light Temple, which I would take people, reconvert them. They're like, you're the primary president, but we don't have anybody for you for counselors. So you have to either reactivate people or baptize people. So I reactivated 2 sisters, went with them to the Light Temple, flew them over to, because you have to fly from Kauai to Oahu to go to the temple, got them their endowments, helped them through the whole temple process, because that is where the Lord is, for he walks those very halls. He is there. And I said, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the gateway to get you to the temple so that the Lord can teach you himself. He doesn't need anybody else to teach you. He teaches you. As you take out your time, which is the very first thing you consecrate when you raise your hand, you consecrate your time on this earth to go do that work. When you take out your time, and I'm telling you, all those people on the other side that have already lived on this earth, they know how busy we are. They know what it's like to be in mortality. And for whatever reason, they didn't take the time or they didn't have the ability to do that work for them. They are eternally grateful. I was in the sealing room one time and I saw a sister, a spirit sister. It was one of my husband's aunts, come over and she kissed me on the cheek before she disappeared through the wall. And I'll tell you, I've had people talk to me. I was in the sealing room with my husband and they were going through names and we were sealing these daughters. And all of a sudden I hear this voice super loud, really loud. Don't forget about me. Don't forget about me. Twice. And I look around. I looked at the sealer. I looked at my husband. I'm like, anybody hear that? No? Okay. And so I remembered the name that we were doing because we were doing like 10 daughters. I remembered the name. I went home. I looked it up on my family search. Sure enough, 2 daughters and a son that were on there that I had missed because I don't even search it. I just let the angels do it. And I printed out their names. And I took them to the temple and my teenage daughter did the baptisms and I'm going in to do their initiatories. And they're both standing in the room with me in the first booth before you go in. And they said to me, we're bringing our brother like you're bringing your brother. And I thought, how do they know that my excommunicated brother, who I love, who is now awake and knows everything I know, how do they know that? Because they know everything that is going on in our lives. They know everything. They're very involved in our lives. They're very interested in what we're doing right now because this time, the time is now. The Lord is gathering his people. He is calling people to the 144,000. They're already being called. They're already being sent on their missions. They're already going full circle. The time is now. He is coming. He is preparing us. And we promised we would do it. So I was standing there in this moment by myself one time in that first booth going through and doing initiatories. I told the Lord, why would you do this to me? Why? You made me this super sweet person. I'm so sensitive. My whole life, everything hurt my feelings. I was totally sweet and innocent. And I was like, why would you ask me to fight this life and be this warrior? Why did you send me here? You know my personality. You know I hate to fight. I will avoid a fight at all costs. And he gave me a pre-mortal memory of me. And I got to see myself as a warrior fighting for the Savior in the pre-mortal world. And I went to other worlds and I fought. And I was one of his strongest warriors. And I saw it.